through the loops. You have a big knot like that. Pretend to slide it down a few inches like this. Then lay it across the palm up. Left hand, load in the other knot as you pull this tighter. Do a little magic. The secret grip, remember, slide it down like this. When you're ready to pluck it off, pinch the two together, pull it off like this. Now at this point, you can actually hand this out for examination, which is a pretty interesting thing to see. Hand out the rope as well. And if you want to, you can add one more piece. There's the old classic forming the loop, a secret way to form a knot. Here's what you do. You hold it in your left hand, your palm up right hand, like this. You clip the knot or the end here, and you just turn this inward and drape it across your fingers. So it looks like nothing more than just forming a loop. Now, if you somehow thumb palm that end, like this, and drop everything, you've got a knot. So at regular speed, you've handed out the knot, you've handed out the rope. You take the rope back, you say, boy, a solid piece of rope, no knots, and let me have that knot back. That's pretty good misdirection. Now you're going to drop this, forming one knot. At the same time, you hide this in your hand. It looks like this, and boom, it looks like you just put the knot right back on. Remember, I feel uncomfortable palming something in my hand, so as soon as I do this, I immediately grab this end. I can relax, and if you really want to finish clean, the knot is palmed in the right hand, the magnifying glass is in the right pocket. Hey, here's an idea. Say, you know, some people think this might be a tricky rope or a tricky knot. I've taken the liberty of bringing with me a magnifying glass, leave the knot behind, bring out the magnifying glass as a courtesy to your audience, let them examine the rope, and that's it. This is Backflip by Sam Schwartz. To do this, I'm sorry to say, but you do need a few gimmicked cards, all of which I believe you can make yourself, especially if you're good at splitting cards. But that's a whole nother thing. 2 double-backed cards, red-blue double-backed cards, okay? That's the first thing you need. 1 ordinary king. Now, it doesn't matter what color the back is, as long as it's the same as one of the sides of the double-backed cards. I prefer to go from blue to red than from red to mirror backs or green backs or however you want to finish. So I would have 2 double-backed cards. The red card matches the red king, in this case the king of hearts. The other 3 kings have either green backs or mirror backs or whatever you want to finish with. And that's the setup. Blue, blue, ordinary king with a red back that matches those red backs, and then the other 3 kings face up. And also I alternate the colors, black, red, black, red. Okay? That is the setup. Now you can bring the cards out, you can make a big thing out of the fact that they're blue, but you can only deal off 1 card. So don't make too big of a deal out of it, but there's blue backed cards. I say there's 4 kings. You start by doing the Elmsley count by Alex Elmsley. If you're not familiar with it, this is what it is. You take the top card with your left thumb, drag it a bit to the left, reach in between the middle finger and ring finger with your right hand, 2 fingers at the bottom, thumb on the top, and your left hand moves away. So that's the count of 1. Now it seems a little strange, but it looks pretty good. It looks like 1. On the count of 2, what you're going to do is secretly take this single card underneath the packet and hold it. You keep it. At the same time that you do that, your right thumb is going to push all of the cards above the bottom card to your left. So basically you're pulling the bottom card inward and pushing the whole block of 3 cards to your left. It does this. Number 1, you push the block over, you steal this single card back secretly under the packet, and you take the block. That's the count of 2. On the count of 3, this card goes face up like this, and the count of 4, the last card goes there. So it looks like 4 blue-backed cards, one of which is face up. All right? Now, at this point, I like to do the John Cornelius touch on this particular count. You grab this lower card, which is actually a blue-backed card plus 3 extra cards underneath it. And as I pull this out, the thumb pushes the cards underneath it under. So it looks like I just pulled this card out, place it on top. All right? That's the John Cornelius touch. That's the first one. 1 card is face up. Do the little bit of magic. It looks like there's 3 blue-backed cards. You do the Elmsley count again. There's the second king face up. Push that back. Pull this out. The exact same thing a third time. A little bit of magic. The third king turns face up, in this case the king of spades. Exactly like before, push the bottom cards inward, pull this card back, it goes on top. The last king, in this case the king of hearts, turns face up, the Elmsley count again. Now, after the last king is face up, the remaining card goes on the bottom, not on the top like you did the first 3 times. Then I say the king of hearts is the leader king, it's the most powerful of all. put it back on top. As you square it up onto the packet, you take this card, pull it out, and put it on the bottom. Now you say it's the leader card, and it influences the other kings. Now what you've got is 4 face-up kings and the 2 face-down cards at the bottom. So you say the last king, the king of hearts, if I snap, all of the other kings turn face-up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you have to be careful because underneath you've got 2 extra cards. I don't want the audience to see a triple thick card. So you take 1, 2, on 3, I push the king forward diagonally a little bit, so that helps conceal the thickness of the triple card. So it looks like by magic, all of the cards turn face up at the same time. Now I square them up, leaving the king of hearts on the face of the packet. I say it's not only that, does it turn all the cards face up, but because it's red on the face, it chooses to be red on the back as well. Now that's the only legitimate card you can show very cleanly, red on the back as well. Then you put it back on the face, you say, well, if it's red, the other cards turn into red as well. Turn the whole packet face down, do a standard Elmsley count again, and it looks like all of the blue-backed cards magically change into red-backed cards. Okay? At this point, I take 1, 2, like this, square them up cleanly, just flash the face. Make sure they're squared up first. You don't want to do this. I just say, yep, they all change from blue to red. Put these 2 cards on top, turn the whole packet face up, and take 2 cards off the face and say, yep, don't show the backs. Don't want to do that. Show the 2 kings, put the 2 kings on the bottom. Then I say, wait a minute, they were face down, they all turned face up, they changed from blue backs to red backs. How could this possibly be? I know. It's a trick. And like all tricks, it must be done with mirrors. Turn the cards face downward, expose the mirror backs, and you're ready for the Elmsley count, which looks like you've got 4 mirrored backed cards. And as an extra little show, you can do this, show both sides, and that's the end of the routine. And that is called Back Flip by Sam Schwartz. This is the Sachs dice routine by Dr. Sachs. You can do it with regular dice, just standard drugstore type dice with the rounded edges, but I have found from experience it's much easier and less risky if you use razor sharp edges now. Unfortunately, these are a little difficult to find, but if you find some, let me know. My good buddy Frank Zach let me borrow these, and he's from Las Vegas, and he's got inside scoop. So this is a set of razor sharp dice. They're ordinary dice, absolutely ordinary, 100%. Now, what you need to learn is the paddle move. This is the paddle move, same as with a color-changing knife or dicey dots routine, but with dice, you hold it like this. If you turn your hand over, the opposite side from the 1 will be a 6, but actually whatever's under your index finger, in this case the 4, will show. You turn it over. In the act of turning it over, you give it 1 extra quarter of a turn. So it looks like it's a 1 on one side and a 4 on the other. And then by magic, you can shake it and change the 4 apparently into a 6. That's pretty much the only move in the whole routine. You turn your hand over, you give it 1 extra quarter turn. Now, like the regular paddle move, the theory is the larger action of turning your hand over hides the smaller action of giving the die an extra quarter of a turn. So if you do this, it looks like 1, 4, 1, 4. If you want to change the 4 into a 6, you shake it, you turn it over, it looks like it changes to a 6. Okay? Here's the routine. 2 ordinary dice. What you have to do is find the 6 facing you, the 5 on top, and the 4 faces to the right with the left-hand die. The right-hand die, you have the 6 on the top, the 5 facing you, and the 4 facing to the left. So basically what you're doing is you're putting the 2 4s together, and you have 6, 5 showing, and you have 5, 6 hidden under your index finger like that. So that's it. 11 on one side. No paddle move. Legitimately show the other side is the 3. So it looks like 11 on one side, 3 on the other side. Then you go back to the 11 side and you say, but if I rub here, rub there, give them a little shake, do the paddle move this time. As you turn it over, it looks like there's 11 on the back side. Remember the paddle move with 2 dice? It's only a little bit more difficult than with 1 die. You turn it over, you give it an extra quarter of a turn. But it looks like it's got 11 on this side, 11 on that side. But you're not showing it apparently as 11 on both sides. What's happening is you say, if I rub here and rub there, the 11 jumps from the top side to the back side. Of course, if it's 11 on the back side, it's got to be 3 on the top side because the top and bottom always add up to 14. Okay, now you say, sometimes when I do this, people think I have 11 on both sides. Now for the first time, you make it look like there's 11 on both sides. You do the paddle move as you turn it over. In fact, one time I did this, a lady thought I had 3 on one side. You turn it over legitimately to show a 3, and apparently 3 on the opposite side. When you turn your hand over, you're doing sort of a backwards paddle move.